Hello, hello, hello. Hello to the main stage. Hello to everybody online. There you are. There's the camera. I hope everybody's having a great day so far and had a great Circle Live. If you're here in New York and you're ready to join the conversation about templates, that's going to start in about 1 minute. But I do want to give everyone the opportunity and really encourage them. If you're in the back of the room, move on up. Let's give these speakers some energy and some love. All right, so next up, we have some of our top circle members here to talk about being template sellers who tell all. They're going to introduce themselves as part of their first session, so I'm just going to give names and titles. So first is Hannah Ippolito. She's a co-founder of Squarekicker, wife of fellow co-founder Nick Ippolito, and the mother of 3 kids. So we've got Hannah from Squarekicker. We've got Nick, Hannah's husband, also from Squarekicker. They came to us all the way from New Zealand. We've got Promise Tangeman, the CEO and creative director of Go Live HQ. And finally, we have Monica Kovac, a former art therapist and counselor turned web designer for therapists and coaches. So please help me welcome template sellers who tell all.
Amazing. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us for the Template Seller Sell All. We are so excited to dive into this topic with you. Before we get started, in a little bit, we are going to ask you a little bit about your experience with template building. So there is a link that you can join up there, menti.com, and a code you can use that'll drive right in. We will get to those questions in a little bit, but if you want to get signed up, we can do that. So let's introduce this fabulous panel that we've got here. There we are. I can't actually see what's behind me. Promise, I think I skipped myself. There we go. All right, we're going to get on to it. Hi, I'm Hannah Ippolito. I'm from Squarekicker. We make design tools that help extend Squarespace just a little bit further for those pro designers that are wanting to take it to the next level. We work with a team in New Zealand who are fabulous, and we love them. They are watching at the moment, and it's like 4 a.m. They've had a slumber party. They're the coolest. So hi, guys. Thanks for joining us.
And I'm Promise, and I'm the CEO and founder of Go Live. And we've been using Squarespace now since 2014. And we primarily work with solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, small businesses, personality-based brands. And there's really 3 different sides to my business. We have a template shop where we create website templates, and we sell DIY resources and courses and free classes and all that to help people build their own website using our DIY templates. We also have a custom side of the business where we have a whole team that creates and launches websites for our clients from the ground up. And then the last side of the business is we have designer education and resources. So we do courses and classes and a coaching program for other designers. So that's kind of the work side of what I do. And personally, I'm from the West Coast, but I just moved to Atlanta, Georgia with my family, and I just moved this summer, so I'm still adjusting, but I'm married and I have 2 toddlers that keep me very busy.
Hi, I'm Monica Kovac. I am the founder and designer at Hold Space Creative. I am a template shop for therapists and coaches. I'll talk a little bit more about this, but I used to be a therapist and a coach myself. And I am based in Kalamazoo, Michigan. I don't have kids, but I'm a proud cat mom and plant mom, and happy to be here.
Hi, I'm Nick, and a co-founder with Hannah and CEO of Squarekicker, and we are based in New Zealand. We have a team of 10, as Hannah was saying earlier, back home, and all based in Nelson, New Zealand. And I've been designing on Squarespace websites for about 9 years or so. But during the pandemic, 2020 or so, we came up with this kind of crazy idea that what if it would look like for people to create custom websites and not have to be bogged down with the code. And so Squarekicker came to life about 3 years ago. And so we've been doing that ever since, and we're really excited to kind of share today a little bit more about what we're doing with templates so that people making templates could also use Squarekicker and just kind of reimagine what it would look like to kind of create and sell and build Squarespace websites.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Right. Well, so we want to get to know you a little bit so that we can better serve you in this discussion. So if you've jumped on there, hopefully we're going to see these results live. But we've got our first question, which is how much experience have you had building Squarespace templates? Go ahead and put those answers in now. Amazing. I'm going to do like a really awkward swivel around because I can't see your answers there. Cool. Okay, so we've got some people that are experienced. That's great. Somewhat experienced and not experienced at all. Ooh, we're getting some changing results there. This is fun live, isn't it? Keeps it exciting. Whoa, we have our first very experienced person. Welcome. It's great to have you here. Great, awesome. So that's a nice little range there. We hopefully will cover something that'll be valuable for everyone today. Awesome. All right. So the next question is, what hesitancies or challenges have you had or experienced when you're building with Squarespace templates? Nice. Whoa, this is so fancy. Did you see that? Amazing. Cool. So definitely some creating documentation and courses. We hear that one a lot. Time required for the template delivery process. Yeah, awesome. Providing customer support, promoting template shops. Great. And you guys are all really happy with the technical stuff. That's brilliant. Amazing. Whoa, look at that documentation one go crazy. That's awesome. Hey, we are definitely going to get into some of those, but we will have some Q&A time today as well, so make sure you hold on to those questions. Great. So the next question we've got is, what interests you about building templates? This is our last question here. So what makes you really excited about building templates? What value will that bring to you and your business? Yeah, some passive income for sure. Lots of scaling and some flexibility. They kind of go hand in hand, right? Brilliant. And we're looking to transition away from some client work. Amazing. Okay, awesome. Hey, thank you so much for participating in that. It's great to get to know a little bit about you. So let's just chat with the panel then about how you guys became involved with Squarespace templates. So Promise, do you want to kick us off?
Sure. So, in 2011, my team and I were creating website templates for other platforms. And we really were doing that because we had a high demand for our custom design, and I wanted to create a lower price point for our clients and our customers. So we were like, let's come up with templates that people can utilize and feel like they have a custom design but don't have to pay for the price tag. And then in 2014, I was really looking to diversify our platforms because I felt like they were kind of hard for our customers to use on the back end. So that's where Squarespace came along. I fiddled with Squarespace and loved how easy it was to use and was just thinking that our clients were gonna love this on the back end. But as I looked around at the landscape, I didn't see any third-party users creating templates on Squarespace, and they didn't have the duplication feature. And so my team and I bumped our heads together and we were like, how are we gonna do this? And so we Jimmy rigged this concept of building a demo site. I'm sorry for everything, everybody. Building a demo site, and then we built these tutorial videos to show people how to build the demo site, and then we created Photoshop files and Canva files and stuff that we included, and it was a very Jimmy-rigged situation, so we kind of pioneered that, and then other designers followed suit, and someone else coined the term Squarespace kits, which I thought was brilliant, and I can't take credit for that. But that's really how we started, and again, I'm so sorry for everything, because that's a very cumbersome way to build a template.
Amazing. We've got like a serious expert here. Been doing the templates since the beginning. That's amazing. How about you, Monica?
Yeah, well, what brought me into the world of web design was burning out as a therapist. And so when I started my business, I was starting with custom design, and I kind of saw myself the possibility of heading toward burnout again. And so I wanted to kind of create an option for myself where I could take better care of myself. I wasn't spending so much time working, so a little bit more work-life balance. But also similar to Promise, I wanted to have an option for my customers, my clients, to get a website at a lower price point, a little more accessible for folks who didn't have thousands of dollars to spend on a custom website or didn't need a custom website. And so, yeah, that's how I got into templates.
That's great. It sounds like you're touching on a lot of the points that we maybe saw popping up in those hesitancies or the excitement about why templates are going to be great. So that's awesome. What about you, Nick? What about you and Square?
Well, I start off as just a web designer, and I've actually personally never made a template to sell or anything like that. I just made websites and became really good at making custom websites, and it's the birth of Squarekicker. And we started hearing a lot of businesses talk about how they were able to save time, make more money, and get back their freedom because they're able to kind of double the workload and charge more for these premium websites. And Squarekicker's vision from the very beginning has always been about how to empower you guys as designers and developers. And so we kept thinking and putting our heads together on how could we serve them even more. And so we did a big survey of a lot of you guys, and a lot of the same themes came out around I want to get back my time, I wanted to get more income, and I wanted more freedom, really, as an entrepreneur. That's like the dream, right? And so we started talking with you a lot, and the idea of selling templates kept coming up. And I was like, great, why don't you do that? And like, well, there's a lot into that. Like, I don't want to have to deal with customer support and maintaining a template, and I have to do some marketing. Like, I also have a family. Like, there's just no option here. So a lot of these kind of amazing designers in this community just weren't creating templates because there were so many barriers. And so we kind of went thinking, how can we make some of that process easier? You know, the duplicating, the administration, the sales and marketing, and et cetera. And that's kind of where we kind of left off to today. So I can share more about that in a little bit, but that's kind of how we got in Squarekicker to the template space.
Yeah, awesome. We're obviously very excited about that coming out and looking forward to sharing some more. Promise, you have an amazing template store. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Go Live templates. I see lots of nods. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. And your sites there are beautiful, and you've got such a great catalog. I'm guessing that takes a lot of time to kind of build and curate and get to that stage. So what advice would you give to someone that is just starting out?
Yeah, I think I hear from a lot of designers that they want to start a template shop because they like that passive income like we saw on the screen, but they don't know where to start and they feel intimidated and they just procrastinate it. But I just want, if that's you, I just want to encourage you that it's not as hard as you might think it is. And I think perhaps maybe you're overthinking it. And I have just a couple tips that hopefully will just reframe your mindset when you go to create that template shop. And number one is to start small. I think sometimes when we think about launching a template store, we think about launching 12 sites or 20 sites just so, you know, it looks like a robust shop and you're going to, you know, come out with a bang and all that. And, or maybe that's the way you're going to make money is selling, you know, tons of templates. But I just want to let you know that your shop does not have to be big in order to be successful. And if you're thinking about launching a template store, write that down right now, because your shop doesn't have to be big in order to be successful. We've had templates that have sold a couple $1,000s, and we've also had templates that have sold over $100,000. So your template shop doesn't need to be big. And in fact, I actually say just launch with 2 in your shop, because 3 is too overwhelming. And 1 doesn't give your customers a choice. You always want to give your customers a choice between this template or that template. And so 2 is just that perfect amount to start with. And also, as you are launching something new, and I know all of you guys know this already, there's always a natural testing phase that you're going to go through when you launch something new. And so you're going to be testing your layouts, you're going to be testing your market, your audience, your niche, your process, your the delivery process, the support, all of that. And so it's a lot easier to test that with just 2 templates than going back and overhauling things, rather than launching with 20 templates and then having this huge thing to overhaul. So just start small and start with 2. And then the second tip is to make it industry specific. You really want to create a template or a template shop that is very niche. And that's for several reasons, because people aren't just looking for a generic template. If they can find a more basic template like on the Squarespace platform, but the reason they're coming to your shop is because they want something a little more robust and specific for their industry. So make it industry specific. And then also, you're going to be found a lot easier online if it is more niche, because your shop is going to get lost in a sea of other template shops if people are just searching Squarespace templates rather than Squarespace templates for hairstylists or whatever your niche is. So those are my top 2 tips.
That's brilliant. Gold right there. Finding a niche sounds like it's a really important piece kind of in that first step. And Monica, you have done that so brilliantly with your coaches and your therapists, and you seem to have found a really, really kind of happy place there with who you're working with. How would you, what advantages have you found working within a niche? And then how would you recommend someone goes about finding a niche to work with?
Yeah, there's so many advantages, but the main 3 that I've found to having a niche template shop is that it makes it so easy to create templates. super easy to market templates, and super easy to sell templates. So I could explain why, but I want to kind of lead everybody through an exercise here because I personally love analogies. So imagine that I'm giving you all an exercise to design a set of birthday cards for the general public, right? Like we need like 10 birthday cards they need to sell, so make sure they're like beautifully designed. We want them to be funny, maybe like heartwarming, things like that. So who's overwhelmed by that assignment? I know I would be. And yeah, so now imagine the assignment instead was to create a set of birthday cards for your friends or your family. So think of somebody in your head right now, like your best friend or a family member, and imagine like what colors you'd put on their cards. Imagine you'd probably have like inside jokes that you're thinking of that you might put on their cards. You're already thinking of ideas, and that's the key. That is what happens when you have a niched template shop. The ideas come so much easier. So creating, you get through that creator's block so much easier. And then in terms of marketing, you're so much more focused. You know who you're talking to. So, writing blog posts, newsletters, social media, right? Like you don't have to worry about talking to everybody. You can just talk to your people. And then selling, at least in my experience, niche templates kind of sell themselves. Because if you think about this example that I just walked you through, if your friends and family are presented with 2 stacks of birthday cards, like one's designed by Hallmark, the other's designed by you for them, which one do you think they're going to choose, right? Like they're going to choose the ones that are personalized to them, and the same is true for templates. So my advice to you, if you're trying to choose a niche, is really go with what you know. I think for me, in my experience, the reason my niche works so well for me is because I used to be a therapist and a coach, so I'm really intimately aware of what my audience needs, and they can tell, and there's that trust already kind of built in.
That's brilliant. I like that. Go with what you know. Find that audience that you can connect with. That's great advice. Nick, you mentioned that Squarekicker has been working on a product for templates. Can you let us in on a little bit of what you've been working on with the team?
I sure can. I know it's funny because we've been kind of shouting a little bit of this on social media that we're building something and making something, and it was going to be roughly ready to kind of share about the time Circle Day came along. So what a better time to be able to share it with all you guys here today. And for the past, 12 to 18 months, we've been brewing up these ideas. And we haven't shipped a lot of new features for Squarekicker because our team has been solely focused on this. So what we have kind of conjured up with is the ability to create Squarekicker templates. And that's the ability for a designer like you guys, because ultimately, again, our vision is to empower designers to create for the web. So rather than us creating these templates, we actually want to empower you guys to do that. And so Squarekicker template is an end-to-end system designed by or for a creator to be able to create and sell and build a Squarespace website using Squarekicker. And that is without the need of duplicating websites. It is without the need of maintaining or updating code or websites on your site, without providing or needing to do customer support or SEO and marketing. So it's kind of like an end-to-end support system for those who want to build and sell a website on Squarespace. And that's in 3 different parts. And the first one is a template studio. And that is one where a creator can actually design a website and a template using Squarekicker. And then they can go through and tag pages and sections using our kind of studio to be able to select which pages and which sections I want to include in this template. And then they can export that template into a database with all those tagged pages, as well as the headers, the footers, the site styles, and the color palettes. And then we're creating what's called a template store. Now the store is going to be able to list that template and to sell it to those customers, so it's be able to sell, and then to publish your own bio site, to be able to have your own kind of store with your own services, your own templates that you can actually sell direct to a consumer. And then we take care, Squarekicker takes care of all the marketing, all the customer support, so you can focus on the design and build part of it. And then to truly earn passive income and to be able to kind of take over, because there's no duplicating the websites, because there's an automatic purchase and installation process where a consumer can then take that website and install on any 7.1 website right away. And that's using what we're calling the template engine, which allows a website builder who's making it, the end user, to use your beautifully designed pages in a way that they can select a page layout from the list of page layouts, just like you would with Squarespace, but instead are your beautifully designed Squarespace pages that you've designed. And if you want to build a page, of course, what would it be like to have a section picker like Save Sections, but they're categorized and filtered by the custom categories that the designer built. And then you can use SquareKicker sections, and that's all without a subscription. So with just a one-time purchase, they have access to all the designs that you've created, and that is supported and maintained over time. And it's pretty exciting. Like, I don't know, like we've been thinking about this for a long time, and it feels surreal to be here sharing what this looks like. And we got some exciting new things coming in, but the MVP is coming out really soon. So we're excited to be able to kind of share it with you guys and see what amazing designs that you guys kind of create with that and be able to empower you to do that, what you do best.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks. We are very excited about that. So promise, people are going to come away from here and they're going to want to start creating some templates. They're going to be excited. What would you say are some kind of key areas to focus on to make a really high-selling template?
Yeah, so we've had years now of experience, analyzing templates, like why is this one selling, isn't that one selling? And I have to say, I am surprised. Normally, I'm like, oh, why is that one selling and that one's not selling? I mean, sometimes I'm really surprised. But as we look at all the templates, there are a few things that stand out for a high-selling template. And that is, number one, that it has a distinct style. I think sometimes when we think template, we think generic, we think general, we think, hey, let's make it for everybody so then everyone can customize it. But if people have to do too much customization, it really, it's not the point. They buy it because they want it to be easy to use, and they want it to look a certain way. They have a very specific look that they're going for. I think even though people can change things, they most likely don't, and they most likely won't. So just keep that in mind. And number two, have strategic content placement on the page, on the website, because people are looking for a very targeted product. They're looking for like a done-for-you kind of thing where they don't even have to think about what to put on the website. And that's really what's going to make your template stand out, is because you are going to be an expert in that niche and you know exactly what needs to go on that website. So they don't need to spend their brain power trying to figure out what to put on the website. So that's really what they're looking for, is something already thought through for them that they can just plug in their content and then have it styled and designed really pretty too. And then the last one is have really good support. When I launched our template shop in the beginning, we thought, hey, let's send everyone who has like a general Squarespace question to Squarespace, and then we'll just answer template-specific questions. But we realized that customers don't know the difference between a general Squarespace question and a template-specific question. So we had to just become the general Squarespace support questions. But I don't mind that, because having really, really good Squarespace support and template support keeps those return customers coming back. And that's something that we hear very often, is that like your support is the best. I feel like we're always such taken care of, and it makes me want to buy more and more sites from you guys. So have really good support. And there was one thing that my business mentor told me years ago, and I really hung on to it. And he says, if you make your business about helping other people, you will always have plenty of work. And so I've always kept that in the back of my mind. Like, yes, we want passive income, but helping others and serving others really creates a business for us. And I know all of you in this room do a really good job of that too.
Yeah, I love that. And I think a constant theme of this week has been the authenticity that the Circle community brings to their interactions with their clients and with each other. So I think that really shines through with the whole community. Customer support obviously showed up as a pretty big hesitancy for a lot of people getting into it, and you've kind of told us how important that is. So Monica, do you have some good systems? How do you approach customer support? What do you do to make that a really effective part of your business?
Yeah, and I definitely relate, because the problem of customer support before I became a template shop was something that was like a hurdle for me to kind of figure out and get over. But how I started was kind of starting by thinking about how I wanted my customers to feel when they were using my templates and participating in customer support. And I wanted them to feel like I was sitting right next to them throughout the process, even though it was more of like a passive, income product. And then again, knowing my niche really well, I knew exactly how much support they would need along the process. And so with each template comes all the materials that they need. They get a PDF guide that walks them through step by step of putting their content into the template. I've recorded videos both on how to use Squarespace, but also how to use their particular template. And then I have a dedicated customer support person, shout out to Anna in the back. And so she handles, customer inquiries over email. And then we've been able to expand a little bit. And so we've created a paid service for technical support. So if customers need just that little bit of extra help, they maybe don't have time to handle all the DIY things, and they'd rather just outsource some things like moving a domain or previous to today, like moving to 7.1, And so those types of things have been really helpful to help our customers feel supported, and again, keep them coming back because they feel so supported.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Nick, passive income is obviously talked about a lot, and again, we saw those dots flashing like crazy on that passive income one there. So how will Squarekicker help web designers create this kind of passive income?
First of all, I just love you guys. You guys, I really look up to you. You've done such an amazing job with your businesses, and it's really cool to see. It's like it's a huge, hard thing to do, as you probably will know. A lot of people maybe don't make it all the way past idea, but you guys have really hustled and got it through the line. But passive income is probably always the dream when you start out, and you're like, this isn't passive. This is income with a lot of work, but you just front load the work. Like it's a lot of challenges, and then you're consistently marketing and selling and trying to work really hard to get the audience, and it's hard work. And it's probably the reason I haven't started selling templates. I thought about it and was like, there's too much. There's just too much work. I can't pull this off. And so so I started looking at how would passive income really work? And I was talking to another template designer and just really looking at, actually, I think a small fraction of the business of running and selling templates is actually, it's like 20% is the ability to design, and the rest of it is making the business work. So the design is not the hard part. The design is the first part, and then actually the real work comes into actually running a business, selling, marketing, customer support, maintaining updates, etc. And so we started thinking, like, how can we actually help provide a pathway for designers to be able to do this without that? And so being able to create Squarespace templates with this kind of template engine, if you will, really takes that whole pressure away, so you can really focus on what matters most, which is the design. And then we want to partner with you guys as designers to be able to achieve those goals simply. So we create the technology and the service to help host and run your business, and it really becomes a synergy of partnership. So rather than a competition of us creating templates as well, we actually want to work with you guys as designers to be able to do that. And part of the thing I'm most excited, if I'm honest, about this whole project is, again, there's some incredible designers in this room. Like, the community that Circle has created of these amazing designers and supportive designers has got nothing on Webflow or WordPress or Wix. Like, it's pretty powerful. But be able to create templates with using Squarekicker, we've seen your websites, and we go, how did they do that? Like, we're looking at the code saying, is that possible with Squarekicker? I guess it is. That's pretty cool. So we're just always surprised on what you guys have been able to create. And I'm really excited to see what other people kind of create, because I think some of these templates will never see the light of day because all the challenges behind that scene. So I'm really excited to see the template landscape kind of reach another height and just take on like a whole evolution of new growth in the template region of Squarespace.
Yeah, awesome. That is very exciting. We really can't wait to see what you are going to create with this. We've got a little bit of time for questions. So,
We've got some questions. Here we go. We've got some questions online that I'll be asking, and raise your hand and I'll come over with a mic. So the first question from online is, if you are working on building a web design business and also want to build templates after establishing a portfolio, do you recommend having separate businesses to distinguish between client-facing and templates? I think they're saying if you're doing kind of websites as a service and also trying to sell these products, is that a single company? Are those two different brands? How do you approach that?
I feel like, Promise, you're going to have some experience here, right?
Yeah, I would say it definitely depends on like the size of your template shop. I think launching a template shop, you're not going to need two separate businesses. I have two different teams that do run the custom side and also the template side, just because it's just easier that way. And then, yeah, just it's a little more simpler, a little more clean cut. But when you launch your template shop, you're not going to have a flood of new purchases. I don't want to like disappoint you with that, but that's the truth. So you're going to get to ease into the business a little bit and figure out what actually works for you, because it might be helpful for you to have them all both in-house, both together as one business. But yeah, so my template shop, it's all under Go Live and it's all under the same business, but two separate teams run it.
I can add to that a little bit too, because I started as a custom designer and opened a template shop under the same business because I was working in the same niche. So for me, that's what made sense.
I was wondering if you could speak to pros and cons of targeting designers with the templates versus targeting the end users, because it seems like a couple of you are on either side of that. So my niche is nonprofits, and not to be unkind, but most of them, even with a custom site, they have trouble. But I have a lot of people asking me for nonprofit templates, right, for websites. And so I'm just really nervous about sort of getting myself into a customer support nightmare of, yes, you wanted the template, but now you have 1 million questions. Maybe a better strategy would be working with other designers. I have a nonprofit background, so maybe creating templates for nonprofit, for designers who don't speak that language, to make it really easy for them to target nonprofit clients. So can you speak to the pros and cons of the designer angle versus the end user angle?
Personally, I would go for where are my connections and where do I have an inroad to market these templates. If you don't have a big designer community already built, then you're gonna have to go find that. You're gonna have to do some more work in order to sell those templates. So I wish I had like a better answer, but that is, yeah, I would just go where my people are, where I think they're gonna sell.
Thanks, guys. So the topic of today is building your toolkit and monetizing your Squarespace site. So can any of you speak to templates that have those types of features built into them and delivered like with easy to use membership area or shop?
Sure. So you're talking about like the add-ons that you can put on top of whether they come in with the templates.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys offer with your templates?
Yeah, some of my templates come with additional features like member areas, things like that. And for me, it just depends on like what, because as I'm creating a template, I create like an avatar client that I'm creating for. And so it just kind of depends on what they need. And for some templates, I'm like, this person has a membership that they are selling. And so that comes with the template. And I give additional information on like how to set up the member area and additional information on that pricing and things like that, and leave it up to the customer to decide whether or not they want to use it. Some people do and some people don't. So.
Ditto.
All right, thank you so much. Any other questions in the room? All right, I'll come to you next. Coming online, lots of good questions here. My issue is automating fulfillment. And I know SquareKicker, you've got a solution here, but for the people who are sort of doing it natively through what Squarespace tools offer, what are some workarounds and approaches have you found that sort of make the fulfillment efficient, or at least efficient enough?
Was that the delivery process or the?
Yeah, I think once the person's seen your template, paid the $200 or whatever, how do you actually fulfill and get that template to the customer, to the purchaser?
Well, one little hack that we did is we use Trello boards, especially when we have a huge sale and we have multiple support gals logging into our support email. We have, I am not like super geeky with this, and I wish my counterpart was here to like tell you exactly, but we use Zapier and zap to these Trello boards, like the names of people that come in, so then our support girls can log into our Trello boards and know exactly who needs to be the next one to deliver, and it can go really fast that way. So yeah, that's kind of how we do it.
For me, I have a smaller template shop, so our process is pretty manual. So we have an order come in, and we duplicate the demo site and invite the customer as a contributor, and then hand off access.
Hello. So how do you make a template design unique when you provide niche services? So you've niched down, you're providing a template to the therapists. How do you make sure that every therapist doesn't have the same looking site?
That's a great question and something that I agonized over for months. That's something that was like, I really cared about. So with my templates, I also include customization instructions. So I'm saying, you can keep it as is. That's encouraged. And if you want to make it your own, and if the customer is concerned about that, then I give them instructions so that they can do some customizations. And for me, it was like the chances of that happening, of like two therapists in the same city having the same website from my shop are pretty slim. But I wanted to provide that safeguard just in the case of that. Thanks.
I was gonna say one thing I noticed. I've looked at a lot of templates and I've been a lot of research and gone into this topic, obviously. And funny, a lot of people say, "Oh, I can't use Squarespace because I didn't see any podcast templates." I'm thinking you can just put podcast photos in there and you can use that template in every single pod. But the idea is that a lot of DIY consumers who are running a business aren't the creative types, they're running a business. And so actually the photos and the content go a long way. And so like I was talking about the niching is actually, it's the same template maybe for them all. And so come up with a really generic one might maybe sell, but you need a creative person to use that then. Maybe that would be better for a designer to be multi-purpose. By actually having content and podcasters and visually images that are stimulating and content that looks like that could be my website, that's where the niche takes over and says, oh, perfect, they have a podcast template, I can use that now for my podcast. And I think the content really helps to sell that niche.
Yeah, and I would say too, for whatever reason, all the sites end up looking different. Like, I don't know if it's just like serendipity or like what, I don't know what it is, but yeah, we sell so many of the same templates. And when I go and look at the history and click on them, I'm like, wow, how are these all looking so different? Sometimes they don't even change anything. And I'm like, just, yeah, the content, the photos, and if you just change the color, it looks totally different. Put in your own logo or whatever. Yeah. I don't even think you should worry about that.
Okay, I want to go back to the pass off when you're passing it off to clients, because that has always been one of my biggest things too, is how do I actually deliver it, and the duplication process, how difficult is it? I'm busy. So will SquareKicker help with that process? Is there something you have planned if designers sign up with you guys?
Yeah, when you mean with just the actual template creation.
Well, so when I've created the initial template, but then if I want to present that to the client rather than having to duplicate it, or how does the...
Yeah, right. So if you're using a template for yourself, you mean to actually create a website for a client?
Nope. If I become one of your designers through the program, yeah.
Yeah, great. So that's essentially the template store. Yeah, so the template store exists to live where your template lives, and a consumer can go on and actually choose a template and then purchase it right away, and then you do nothing. So you're not involved in the process. You don't have to interject and email them, get their client information, contributor access, set up a spreadsheet, do a Zapier. You just basically sit back and watch the transaction come through. They get the script to install. Once that process takes over, you get an onboarding process to say, what do I want to install? Do I install these pages, these sections, the site palette, the color settings, etc. And the cool thing about that is that if you, the designer, want to make an update towards that, I know that if our developers listening now, you probably will shoot me, but the idea is that when you create an update for that template, a Squarespace course comes out, you're like, oh, I really wish I had that for my template. How do I give that new thing to my old template? Well, the idea is that you can create new and updated pages, updated sections, and then you can release that, and then the other people who have bought those retrospectively will inherit that, and they'll be available for picking and selecting. So the idea of actually handing off to a client, you can sell 30 or 100 in a day and never have to pick your email up. So the idea is it's really automated so you can focus on your business, running a design business, and creating these website templates as another side of the income.
Great. I think we've got time for one more question before I get into that. Nick or Hannah, there's a bunch of questions sort of on the specifics of this. Is there a page on SquareKicker that people can go to? And I'll show the questions afterwards. You can make sure your FAQs are covering them. But where should people go for more information?
Totally. Yeah, we intentionally left quite a bit off because we could just spend the next hour just talking about all the different things and fielding questions. So we have made a template page on the Squarekicker website at squarekicker-template or .com/templates. And we have a page up there today. And if you want to sign up to be on the wait list to kind of hear about when this comes out and be invited to be a template creator on the store, you can do that. But also there's visuals of what the template engine studio look like and some FAQs to read about.
And I think this is going to be a one-word answer from each of you guys. I think you'll have the same answer. Do you feel that there is still space in the market for template builders?
Yeah.
All right,
I think that's
I
why
agree.
we're all sitting here, isn't it? Yes, yes, definitely. And I think the enthusiasm for what we saw on that last screen is, just shows how much there is a desire for, web designers. So I think it's going to be a huge growth industry and something that we're really excited to see kind of build into Squarespace. So thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate you coming here and all your great questions. If anyone wants to ask this panel of experts anything else, where can we get in touch with you?
You can find us on Instagram at instagram.com, at GoLiveHQ. And then me, I'm at Promise Tangeman, or you can always email us hello@golivehq.co.
My website is holdspacecreative.com, and I'm on social media at holdspacecreative.
You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm usually pretty good at looking at messages on there, or my email is nick@squarekicker.com. I'm pretty approachable. Email me anything. If you email customer support, it's probably going to be me as well. There's another guy named Shannon who's awesome, but we sit next to each other and chat about every one of you guys. So just email customer support, and most likely you'll get back to one of us too.
Awesome. And I'm Hannah at squarekicker.com or LinkedIn as well. We'd love to chat to you more, but thank you all so much for joining us. We hope it's been helpful. Okay.